Antarctica holds the coldest temperature ever recorded on Earth, yet a massive lake remains liquid beneath the ice. This isn't just a climate anomaly, it is a strategic asset that is rewriting the rules of the game. While the world watches for rising seas, three superpowers are quietly racing to claim the rights to what lies underneath: water, minerals, and deep-water access points. The 1959 treaty banning military activity and mining is fraying under pressure from nuclear icebreakers, satellite networks, and a U.S. operational retreat. This video explains why the peaceful continent has become the next great power flashpoint, driven not by moral outrage over warming, but by cold calculation of incentives in an era where science stations are becoming strategic footholds. To understand the shift, we must first discard the idea that Antarctica is merely a frozen laboratory for climate scientists. The region operates on a logic of realpolitik, where every inch of ice and drop of water represents leverage. At Vostok Station, temperatures average -55 degrees Celsius, creating an environment so hostile it seems to defy human habitation. Yet beneath this frozen crust lies a body of water the size of Lake Ontario, kept liquid by geothermal heat. For decades, this was treated as a scientific curiosity, a unique window into subglacial ecosystems and ancient climate records. But in the current geopolitical landscape, that lake is no longer just about biology or ice cores. It represents a resource zone where access equals sovereignty, even if that sovereignty is currently held under suspension by international agreement. The turning point for this dynamic lies in what we call dual-use infrastructure. In modern statecraft, there are rarely purely civilian assets when it comes to national security. A satellite ground station built to collect weather data on atmospheric changes can be repurposed within hours to track naval movements or guide missile trajectories. This blurring of lines means that every new research facility constructed by a major power is effectively a forward operating base for potential defense operations. China has explicitly declared its intent to become a polar great power by 2030, integrating this strategy directly into national security plans rather than keeping it within civilian scientific directives. They are establishing satellite ground stations near facilities like Zhongshan, creating a network with dual-use military applications that stretch from Antarctica down through South America. This is not an accidental overlap of functions. It is a deliberate design choice to expand strategic reach without triggering immediate diplomatic alarms. Quick resource note: I keep a curated set of Amazon search links in the description for books, gear, and tools relevant to this channel's topics. Some are affiliate links, so I may earn a commission at no extra cost to you. Please consider supporting the channel by using those links if you find something useful. The contrast between this expansion and the current American posture creates the central tension in the region today. The United States, traditionally the dominant power in Antarctic affairs, is facing a significant capability gap that has been widening for years. In April 2023, the National Science Foundation suspended new fieldwork due to delays at McMurdo Station and announced plans to reduce its research fleet from 2 vessels down to just 1 for coming decades. This reduction represents a strategic contraction in an area where presence is everything. Furthermore, the Coast Guard's Polar Security Cutter program has been re-baselined with significant schedule slips that push operational readiness well into 2050 or beyond. With no senior State Department official issuing a recent strategic framework on Antarctic interests since 1959, Washington is effectively ceding operational space in a region where it once held uncontested leadership. The incentive structure here is clear. If you are not present to enforce the rules of engagement, those who do show up can reshape them through sheer momentum and logistical dominance. This dynamic places immense pressure on the legal framework that has governed the continent for over 6 decades. The 1959 Antarctic Treaty established a unique arrangement where territorial claims were frozen and military activity was prohibited in favor of scientific cooperation. A separate body, CCAMLR, established in 1982, handles marine wildlife conservation alongside these land treaties to prevent commercial exploitation. However, the discovery of liquid water bodies like the sub-glacial lakes creates immediate incentives for resource access that the current legal framework was not designed to handle. The treaty assumes a world where science is neutral and resources are inaccessible. It does not account for nuclear icebreakers capable of year-round access or satellite networks that can monitor every movement from orbit. Russia has explicitly included polar regions in its 2021 national security strategy, signaling a shift toward militarization similar to trends seen elsewhere on the globe. Meanwhile, Australia is investing millions into drone surveillance capabilities to maintain visibility over their claimed territory. The discovery of liquid water creates an urgent incentive for nations that can access it first. Unlike the Arctic, where oil extraction is often cited as the primary driver, Antarctica holds potential for rare earth minerals and biological resources hidden in sub-glacial lakes, resources vital for future technology manufacturing. If a nation secures control over these underwater ecosystems or mineral deposits beneath the ice, they gain leverage that could redefine global supply chains without ever firing a shot. The stakes extend far beyond the continent itself because the dissolution of rules-based order here signals broader shifts in how great powers interact with international law when it no longer serves their interests. Science stations are becoming neutral ground only as long as all parties agree to abide by historical precedents that may not fit modern technological realities. As American logistical capacity shrinks while rivals expand with nuclear icebreakers and satellite networks, the balance of power in the Southern Hemisphere will tilt without a formal declaration of war or new treaty signing. The liquid lake is just the first major resource claim that could force a renegotiation of global sovereignty rules within this decade. The ultimate realization for any viewer following these shifts is that the 1959 treaty isn't being broken by open aggression. It is becoming obsolete because no one has a modern strategy to enforce its spirit against new technological realities. When you combine China's aggressive timeline with nuclear capabilities, US aggressive timeline with nuclear capabilities, operational retreats, and Russian strategic integration, the incentive structure favors those who can physically dominate the environment rather than those who signed a piece of paper 60 years ago. The peaceful continent is becoming a testing ground for how international law holds up when power dynamics shift faster than diplomatic consensus can adapt. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. I am a one-person team working hard to make each video better than the last. Subscribe if you found value. It is the best way to show support. Drop a comment with your biggest takeaway. See you in the next video.